Have you ever felt tired even after doing nothing all day? Not just physically tired, but mentally drained, unmotivated, and overwhelmed for no clear reason? For many millennials, this feeling has become normal. It's not just occasional stress, it's a constant state of low energy, pressure, and exhaustion. Even when things seem fine on the outside, something still feels off. This is what burnout looks like today. And for millennials, it's happening more often than ever. At first glance, it doesn't seem to make sense. Compared to previous generations, life in many ways is more convenient. Technology has made tasks easier, information is more accessible, opportunities seem endless. But underneath that convenience, there's a different kind of pressure, one that's harder to see, but much harder to escape. One major reason for burnout is the feeling of constant responsibility. Unlike past generations, millennials often feel like they have to figure everything out on their own. There's pressure to build a successful career, manage finances, maintain relationships, stay healthy, keep learning, and somehow enjoy life at the same time. It's not just one role, it's all of them, all the time. And because there's no clear endpoint, the work never really feels done. Even during rest, there's often a lingering sense that you should be doing more. Another major factor is the blurred boundary between work and personal life. Technology has made it possible to work from anywhere at any time. While this sounds like freedom, it often turns into constant availability. Emails, messages, notifications, they don't stop when the workday ends. Your brain never fully switches off. Even when you're not working, part of your attention is still occupied. This creates a low-level stress that builds over time. You're always slightly on, even when you're supposed to be resting. And the real rest requires a disconnection. There's also the pressure of endless choice. On the surface, having many options sounds like a good thing. You can choose your career path, lifestyle, relationships, and goals. But too many choices can become overwhelming. Every decision starts to feel important. Every path you don't choose feels like something you might be missing out on. This creates decision fatigue. You spend so much time thinking about what you should do that you feel mentally drained before even taking action. And when things don't go as planned, it's easy to blame yourself. After all, you had so many options, so why didn't you choose the right one? This kind of thinking adds even more pressure. Another hidden cause of burnout is the idea that you should always be improving. There's a constant message in modern culture. Be more productive, be more successful, be healthier, be better. Self-improvement is everywhere. Books, podcasts, videos, advice. While growth is important, this constant push can become exhausting. It creates the feeling that you're never enough as you are. There's always something to fix, something to optimize, something to work on. So even your free time starts to feel like work. Instead of relaxing, you feel like you should be learning, improving, or doing something useful. Over time, this removes the sense of genuine rest. Social media adds another layer to this burnout. You're constantly exposed to what other people are doing. Career wins, travel, fitness, relationships, personal growth. It creates a subtle pressure to keep up even if you don't realize it. You might start comparing your daily life to someone else's highlights. Even if you know it's not a fair comparison, it still affects how you feel. It can make your own progress seem slower or less meaningful. There's also the issue of financial pressure. Many millennials are dealing with rising costs of living, student loans, and economic uncertainty. Even with a stable job, it can feel like you're just keeping up rather than moving forward. This creates a background level of stress that doesn't go away. It affects decisions, limits freedom, and adds to the feeling of being stuck. And when effort doesn't seem to lead to stability, it becomes even more draining. Another reason burnout feels constant is because it's not always dramatic. It's not always a breakdown or a clear moment of exhaustion. Often, it's quiet. It shows up as lack of motivation, difficulty focusing, low energy, or feeling disconnected from things you used to enjoy. Because it's subtle, it's easy to ignore. You keep going, pushing through, telling yourself you'll rest later. but later rarely comes, and the exhaustion slowly builds. All of this leads to a key point. Burnout isn't just about working too hard. It's about carrying too much mentally, emotionally, and psychologically for too long without enough real recovery. And for many millennials, that load has become part of everyday life. Once you understand why burnout happens, the next step is figuring out what actually helps. And this is where many people get stuck, because the usual advice like just rest more or manage your time better often doesn't go deep enough. The first thing to understand is that burnout isn't just about doing too much. It's also about feeling like what you're doing isn't fully in your control or doesn't lead anywhere meaningful. That's why simply taking a break doesn't always fix it. You can take time off, relax for a few days, and still feel the same heaviness when you return. The problem isn't just the workload. It's the relationship you have with your time, your energy, and your expectations. One of the most important shifts is learning to set real boundaries. Because work and life are so blended now, boundaries don't happen automatically. You have to create them intentionally. That might mean turning off notifications after a certain time, not checking emails outside of work hours, or protecting parts of your day where you're fully disconnected. At first, this can feel uncomfortable. You might feel like you're falling behind or missing something, but over time, these boundaries create space for your brain to recover. And recovery isn't optional, it's necessary. Another important piece is redefining what productivity means to you. Right now, productivity is often tied to constant output, doing more, achieving more, staying busy. But this mindset is one of the main drivers of burnout. Not every moment needs to be productive in that sense. Rest, reflection, and even doing nothing have value. They allow your mind to reset, which actually improves focus and creativity later. When you stop measuring your worth by how much you produce, a lot of pressure begins to lift. It also helps to simplify your decisions. One of the hidden drains on energy is constant decision making. What to do next, what to focus on, what matters most, it all adds up. Reducing unnecessary choices can free up mental space. This might look like creating routines, limiting options, or focusing on fewer goals at a time. Instead of trying to improve everything at once, you choose what truly matters right now. Clarity reduces exhaustion. Another key step is being honest about your limits. Many people push themselves beyond what they can realistically handle, not because they want to, but because they feel they should. There's pressure to keep up, to prove yourself, or to meet expectations. But ignoring your limits doesn't make them disappear. It just leaves